Mamallapuram all set for the informal summit between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping. Both the leaders to arrive in Tamil Nadu later today for the second informal summit. Mamallapuram bears testimony to ancient ties between the two neighbors. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman meets distressed customers of the PMC Bank, says the government will bring in amendment in the winter session of Parliament if needed and to avoid cases like PMC Bank scam. The minister also says she will talk to RBI Governor and convey the urgency and distress of the PMC Bank customers. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu addresses the Indian diaspora in Comoros, asserts Indian government considers Africa as a focus continent, appreciates overseas Indians for keeping India's cultural heritage alive. In international news, Turkey continues military operation against Kurdish targets in northeast Syria for the second consecutive day. Thousands of people forced to flee due to the attacks. In sports, Indian batsmen consolidate on day 2 of the Pune Test against South Africa. Hosts cross the 300-run mark, aim to win the Test series to break Australia's 10 Test wins home record. Good morning. Headlines at 10:30. I am Anil Thomas. Now for the stories in detail. It won't be an exaggeration to say that India, led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and China under President Xi Jinping have introduced the concept of informal summits into diplomatic parlance. We trace the journey from Wuhan to Mamallapuram. Chinese President Xi Jinping is arriving in India today for the second informal summit with Prime Minister Narendra Modi at Mamallapuram in Tamil Nadu. The stage is all set for a grand welcome.
April 2018. Day 1 of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 2-day informal Wuhan summit ending with this tune that says it all. In a picture-perfect moment, China saying, "Ye vada raha." A promise made to walk side by side with India. And keeping the promise, President Xi will touch down in Chennai for the Mamallapuram summit on Friday. The stage is all set for a grand welcome. The two leaders will walk the talk at historic sites including the Shore Temple, Arjuna's Penance and the Panch Rathas. On Saturday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will host President Xi for one-on-one as well as delegation-level talks at the Fisherman's Cove in Chennai. Rewinding to Wuhan, the warmth and camaraderie both leaders share was visible as they took a long walk by the iconic East Lake. In a key outcome, the two leaders agreed to issue strategic guidance to their militaries to strengthen communications and to build trust and understanding.
It's an opportune time that the two leaders are meeting, and I do hope that the understanding reached between the two leaders at the end of the 2-day summit will provide some stability and predictability to the bilateral relations.
After the walk the talk followed a Nao Pe Charcha. The two leaders took a boat ride on a traditional Chinese wooden boat sporting a pagoda. This was reminiscent of Prime Minister Modi's unique style of hospitality. In 2014, he hosted President Xi in Ahmedabad along the Sabarmati waterfront, creating an informal atmosphere that allows candid exchange of thoughts and ideas. A traditional tea ceremony awaited the leaders on the lake side. Prime Minister Modi shared lighter moments with President Xi, perhaps recalling the days when he was a young boy and he sold tea at a railway station, Vadnagar. The Chai Pe Charcha continued as the two leaders sat down over a cup of tea. Prime Minister Modi was seen poring over a document deep in conversation with President Xi. The leaders of the two Asian giants held 6 meetings in 24 hours, discussing trade, tourism, people-to-people connect, and other regional and global issues, agreeing to strengthen mutual relations in days to come. That multiple aspects of bilateral trade were discussed over the 2 days became evident with India and China identifying terrorism as a major global problem. Within 5 weeks of the Wuhan summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Xi Jinping met in Qingdao ahead of the SCO summit. This was their 14th meeting in a short span of 4 years. The two leaders took forward the agenda set in the informal summit. Both countries inked 2 agreements after the bilaterals. The first agreement enables the Chinese side to provide hydrological data about the Brahmaputra River in flood season. It also enables the Chinese side to provide hydrological data if water levels exceed mutually agreed levels during non-flood season. The second agreement relates to facilitation of export of rice from India to China. In 2018, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Xi also met during the BRICS summit in Johannesburg, as well as on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Buenos Aires. In 2019, the two leaders met during the SCO summit in Bishkek and on the sidelines of the Osaka G20 summit. The power-packed 2 days at Mamallapuram will be their third meeting this year.
Be it issues of trade, defense, security cooperation, terror, increasing people-to-people contacts, updating the CBMs or the confidence-building measures along the line of control, resolving the border issue, which has been going on for a very, very long time. So the idea is to pick up the threads from the first informal summit, which happened in Wuhan, in China, and then use Mahabalipuram to pick up the threads from there and build on the bonhomie and the chemistry that we saw between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi to take the relationship to newer and greater heights.
The 21st century is often described as Asia's century, and India, led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as well as China by President Xi Jinping, are partnering to ensure this becomes a reality.
With cameraman S. Jaishankar, Amrit Pal Singh, DD News, Mahabalipuram.
And now we decode why Mamallapuram has been chosen as the venue for the second informal summit between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping. Mamallapuram is also known as Mahabalipuram. The name is said to be derived from the word Mamalam, which means great warrior, a reference to King Narasimhavarman, a Pallav dynast who took forward India-China ties in the 6th century AD.
Taking a step forward to strengthen the ancient ties between India and China, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will meet Chinese President Xi Jinping in Mamallapuram for an informal summit. Mamallapuram has been a witness to the 1700-year-old ties of these two ancient civilizations. The city is world famous for ancient temple architecture. According to historians, this capital city of the Pallava kingdom is important in terms of trade. Ancient Chinese, Persian and Roman coins dating back to the 7th century were found here, indicating its existence as a seaport. Historians believe that during the 6th and 7th centuries, a Chinese traveller, Huan visited India and received a grand welcome by the Pallava king, Mahendravarman, during this period. It is said that the Chinese were well versed with the city and frequently visited it for trade. Mahendravarman's son, Narasimhavarman, played a vital role in expanding trade ties with China and even sent his ambassadors there. It is believed that the Chinese had close connections with Kanchipuram, as it was a pilgrimage for them during that period. India and China not only had trade relations but also share a deep spiritual connection. Historians believe that the Buddhist monk Bodhidharma was related to the Pallavas. Born in India, he travelled to China in 526 AD, taking the religious philosophy with him. He travelled via the sea route and established the practice of meditation there.
Historically, if you look at the flow of Buddhism, it happens from India to the Chinese, and subsequently, of course, the form of Buddhism that's practiced in China has a lot of other influences, the Zen form of Buddhism. And the interesting thing is that even as the Chinese were also making some kind of maritime outreach towards Southeast Asia, and even as India was making cultural trade outreach to those regions, we never had these instances of India and China getting into war-like situations.
This is not the first time that Prime Minister Modi is hosting a foreign leader outside the national capital. He had hosted President Xi in Ahmedabad in 2014. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe also stayed at Ahmedabad during his India visit. Similarly, French President Emmanuel Macron experienced Indian culture on the ghats of the river Ganga at Varanasi, giving the world leaders a glimpse of incredible India. Interestingly, when the Prime Minister went to China for the first time, President Xi hosted him in Xi'an, his hometown instead of Beijing. Bureau Report, DD News.
Our correspondent Abhishek Jha, who's in Mamallapuram, joins us with more updates there on the Prime Minister's visit and the Chinese President's arrival. Abhishek, good morning. Abhishek, first of all, what's the significance of selecting this southern city, and what is expected over the next 2 days in this informal summit? Abhishek, good morning. If you can hear me, Abhishek, the significance of choosing this, the southern city in Tamil Nadu, and also, the significance of this particular visit by the Chinese president. Well, I believe we're running into some technical issues there connecting to a correspondent. We'll try and touch base with him as soon as possible. Moving ahead, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu on Thursday kick-started his 5-day tour of Comoros and Sierra Leone by declaring that India accorded highest priority to deepening its engagements with African nations. Vice President asserted that Indian government considered Africa as a fourth continent, as evidenced by 32 outgoing visits at the levels of President, Vice President and Prime Minister during the last 5 years. India has also decided to open 18 new embassies in Africa.
My dear sisters and brothers, Africa has been accorded top priority by Government of India and declared as a focus continent of our relations with Africa has intensified in the last 5 years. We have decided to open 18 new embassies in Africa, taking the total number of Indian missions in Africa to 47. Our trade has registered 12% increase from the previous year and is at $69 billion. India is now the 5th largest investor in Africa with a cumulative investment of $54 billion.
In his first engagement in Comoros, the Vice President addressed the Indian diaspora and urged them to join in scripting New India's growth story, along with 3 other Ds: democracy, demand and demographic dividend. While lauding the Indians based in Comoros for sharing their prosperity with Comorian brothers and sisters, he asked them to make Comoros more prosperous and also contribute to India's growth story.
I am glad to know that Comorian brothers and sisters have accepted you as part of their larger Comorian family with great warmth and affection, due to which you have settled down well in this country. I am impressed to learn that Comoros has a small but active Indian diaspora, and I am happy to note that despite being only about 250 in number, you have made significant contribution in various fields, including social and economic. I am happy that the Indian community enjoys a reputation of being a peace-loving community and has been able to assimilate well with the locals.
While referring to measures taken by the government to boost economy, Vice President said that our policy is not for lucrative but also to become simpler now. He added that the policy is now of red carpet and not red tape.
Doing business in India is not only lucrative to investors but also becoming simpler. India has jumped 65 positions on the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index and now placed at the 77th rank among the 90 countries. Our policy now is, earlier people used to complain about red tape, means delay. Now the government policy is red carpet. Whoever want to invest in India, a red carpet is laid to all of them. That is the policy.
Earlier, Vice President was accorded military honours and warmly received by the President of the Union of Comoros, Azali Assoumani, upon his arrival in the Comorian capital. India and Comoros are also expected to sign several agreements in the presence of both dignitaries. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Thursday met and assured customers of the Punjab and Maharashtra Cooperative Bank that their interests will be safeguarded. PMC Bank is in a bad financial health, allegedly after having given loans worth thousands of crores to near bankrupt realty player HDIL. Sitharaman said she was abreast RBI governor of the issues and also promised to introduce appropriate legislation in the upcoming parliament session to stop bank scams.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Thursday met a group of distressed customers of the Punjab and Maharashtra Cooperative Bank in Mumbai and promised to bring in legislative changes for upholding of their interests. Holding press conference after the meet, she said that customers are upset over the revised 25,000 rupees limit on withdrawals. The minister said that she will convey the urgency and distress of PMC customers to the governor of RBI.
I've already been talking with the Governor of Reserve Bank. Once again this evening, I shall talk to him and convey the sense of urgency and distress that the clients of PMC have expressed before me, and I shall request him to expedite the clearing off or giving permission for withdrawal of their monies which are deposited.
The finance minister said that she has asked finance and banking secretaries to hold a meeting with rural and urban secretaries on the issue of different cooperative banks and find out shortcomings, and if need be, respective acts will be amended in the winter session of Parliament.
We take necessary legislative steps to, one, prevent such things from happening in the future, empower the regulator better so that he is able to handle such affairs even better. I do not know if there's any shortcoming now, I'm not presuming it, but I'm saying with these objectives this group will be working so that if necessary in the forthcoming winter session of the Parliament itself we'll be bringing in any regulation, any amendments which may be necessitated.
On September 24th, the RBI restrained PMC Bank from carrying out a majority of its routine businesses for a period of 6 months. Subsequently, on September 27, the ED launched a separate probe into alleged money laundering case and raided 6 locations in Mumbai. The investigating agency also seized various movable assets, including private jets and cars of housing development and infrastructure promoters Rakesh and Sarang Wadhavan in connection with the PMC Bank case. PMC is in bad health allegedly due to its exposure to the near-bankrupt realty player HDIL, to which it has loaned over 70% of its 9,000 crore rupees in advances. With Bureau Inputs, DD India.
Well, the wait for Delhi's second airport is finally over. Hindon Airport is ready for the first commercial or civil flight from today. The first flight from Hindon will be by Heritage Aviation Company's 9-seater plane, which will take off for Uttarakhand's Pittorgarh district. A 9-seater aircraft will take the first flight for Pittorgarh from the Hindon Airport from today. Flight from the same place to Delhi will take off at 11:30 am today, and the flight from Delhi to Pittorgarh will take off at 1 pm. Airfare from Hindon to Pittorgarh is 2,270 rupees, and from Pittorgarh to Delhi, the airfare will be 2,470 rupees. After this launch, flights for Dehradun, Hubli, Shimla, Faizabad, Gulbarga, Nasik and Kunnur will be among the other popular destinations. Reducing the load at Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport, Hindon will serve as the second airport. The Air Force station is located close to Ghaziabad. On 8th of March 2019, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had inaugurated the new civil enclave at Hindon Airport. Atma project of the Union government is having a transformational effect when it comes to agriculture. Farmers in Uttar Dinjapur district of West Bengal are benefiting from this project. More in this report.
Rice farming has started in Uttar Dinajpur district with the help of transplanter machine under Union government's Atma project. Our team went to Ratan village of Kaliaganj block of Uttar Dinajpur district, where with the support of the Kaliaganj Agriculture Office, farmers were encouraged to use transplanter machine to sow seeds for rice. Our team observed that the farmers can plant seeds of aromatic rice in Uttar Dinajpur district through this transplanter machine.
We are happy about this new technology. Now we can sow seeds faster. This reduces cost and we get good output.
Farmers are happy to plant paddy seedlings with the help of such improvement of technology through the central government's Atma project. Earlier, they used to plant these paddy seedlings with more workforce and material costs. Now the workers are not feeling that way anymore. Badal Dev Sharma, a farmer in the area, said that with such advanced technology, they can now plant more paddy seedlings.
Farmers have been trained to use transplant machines. Transplanting of paddy has become much easier with this technique.
Union government's Atma project is indeed transforming the agriculture landscape of Uttar Dinajpur district of West Bengal, thereby benefiting farmers. With inputs from Kolkata Bureau, Ground Report Desk, DD News.
That's all we have time for in this edition of news. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.